Hi, Puneet. Welcome back.
Hey, hi.
Puneet, will you be next to the laptop only because आपका face cut हो रहा है थोड़ा.
Now?
आपको थोड़ा और पीछे जाना पड़ेगा.
Now I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine now.
Correct. So let me just share my screen.
Sure.
So you have to make me the host.
I have to make you the admin.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Puneet. There are people joining us. Let's leave that. Okay. You may turn off your. Okay, there are already participants here. So Puneet, you can turn off your screen for now, or maybe I'll. Yeah. Hi, welcome you all. We are just waiting for 2-3 more minutes for others to join, and then we'll start. Hi, good morning and welcome you all. There are about 65 participants who have already joined us. So I'll take the opportunity before starting the talk to introduce Puneet. Puneet is an alumni of Management Development Institute and an experienced consultant with a demonstrated history of working 10 plus years in the field of management, consulting, technology, and finance. He has 7+ years of working experience as a corporate trainer, delivering the sessions on Power BI, Table AU, and MS Excel. He has worked with Fortune 500 clients like IBM, ABB Corp, L'Oreal, and many others in setting up the process and imbibing them with the training to develop the solutions. His area of interest includes finance, commerce, and retail. I would like to hand the session over to Puneet. Hi, Puneet.
Hey, hi guys. Welcome you all for the webinar on Power Query. So just let me know in case you are able to see my screen.
Yes, Puneet, we are in the screen.
Sure. So let's just start with the webinar. So we will be like taking up the session for almost 1 hour 50 minutes and then open up the session for any Q&As you have, right? So I guess everyone is very well versed about Power BI, which is being used in industry a lot these days. The data visualization is becoming a next big thing in every industry which you think, like analytics, e-commerce, retail, everywhere the people are working on Power BI. And Power BI has a set of components which includes Power View, Power Query, and Power Pivot. So today we will be having a webinar on Power Query and what is a Power Query and why do we use Power Query? How does it help in achieving the visualization? And what are the various things we can do in Power Query? So before we start with this session, does anyone know about what is Power Query? Or anyone would like to share their experience with Power Query? I guess people, audience have an option to unmute themselves.
No, they can only chat and type.
Okay. Sure. In case you can put it on the chat, that will be great. Anyone? Okay. Power Query, we can edit the data. Power Query is the data connectivity and data preparation technology. We can process ETL, data fetching methodology. Correct. So there are a lot of things we can hear about Power Query. I think the people who are using Microsoft Excel are also very much well versed about this Power Query. So Power Query in Power BI is a data transformation tool, right? So why do we need a data transformation when we have a tool like Power BI? We have tools like Tableau where we don't have this data transformation option. Why has Power BI included this Power Query in Power BI? So these days we know a lot that we generate a huge volume of data which is unstructured in nature. That is the data types, whether they are sometimes in images, in text, and there are multiple other ways by which the data is not properly aligned. For example, while we are inputting the data, like suppose I have to put yes. So the people sometimes put capital YES, some might put capital Y, some might put Y, some might put capital WES. So a lot of time the data is not aligned, and when your data is not aligned, you will not be able to perform your analysis because it will generate a lot of different output which will not be a correct representation of the data. Plus, apart from that, with huge set of data, we are also getting the multidimensionality in the data. What does this mean? That the data which we receive is in different types of tables. And the problem over here is the problem over here is we need to connect these tables with the tools along with performing some steps like data join and union of data, right? So these are some problematic areas where Power Query comes as a tool to help all the data scientists or the data analysts, right? So let's just study about Power BI transforming the data. Now, what is the need for data? We need to cleanse up the data. When we say cleansing up the data, we mean basically removing extra columns, null rows, extra rows of the data, which is not required for the analysis. This might be, though we can keep that data inside our tool, but it will end up using your space and it will make your file heavier, which will impact the performance of the tool. Second is to tidy it up. The data sometimes is not in a proper format. Like I said, while entering the data, some might say capital YES, some might say small letters YES, some might say only Y, some might say capital YES. So that's one way to clean up your data. Third is to put it into more usable format. That means my data is properly aligned, like pivoting of the data. That means the language in which the machine understands the data. Next is the establishment of the relationships. Once we pull in multiple data sources, then we have to align our data so that we could connect them and we can create an analysis. So what are included in transformation of the data? Splitting of the data, merging the columns, changing the data types, working with the dates, modeling the data, and creating the relationships for easy analysis, and data transformation is performed by Power Query Editor. Now let's just start with our first exercise. Now we have this data set by the name Sample Superstore, where as a data scientist or data analyst, you receive this data for the purpose of analysis. And now, once I open up this data, I see there are multiple tables inside this data. One is with the orders tab, another with the returns, and third one is with the people's tab. So I need to prepare a report which I could share it with the end user, and I can draw some insights for the end user. So I pull in the data. This is my Power BI window, which opens up once you start your Power BI. you can go and click on this Get Data. Now, before we connect our data source to the Power BI, we should be knowing what is a data source, right? And what is the type of data source, right? A data source is a place where we store our data, and there are multiple types of data sources, which are broadly classified into two: files and servers. So when we say some files, these can be in the format of Microsoft Excel, PDF, doc file, JSON file, etc. And when we speak about servers, these are like your DBs, online clouds provided by Adobe, Amazon, Microsoft, right? So before we start with any analysis in Power BI, we should be knowing what is my source of the data and what is its type. So once we know what is my type of the data, we can click on Get Data, and we can select that particular source of data from here. Like in my case, it's Excel workbook. So I click on Excel workbook. I go to the platform where I have saved it. I click on that particular location. I click on that file. A navigator window will open up. So this is a navigator window which opens up. And once the navigator window opens up, we can select which table we want to bring inside my Power BI. So I will start with my first table, which is orders. I check mark on this, and we get three options over here: load, transform data, and cancel. So in case we think my data is clean, we can directly load that data and start performing an analysis. But in case we think my data is not clean, then we can click on the transform data, which will take us to the Power Query editor. So let me just load this data in Power BI. Now, once you load your data in Power BI, you can see the fields which are coming up over here. These are the column headers, right? And now once you have loaded the data in Power BI, now you think that my data is not in a cleaned way, or the data is not appropriate, and then I want to access my Power Query window. How I can do that? So you can click on this option over here, which is a transform data over here, and there is an option in the drop down to click on transform data. And once you click on it, this is altogether a new window which will open up. Now, this is the user interface of Power Query. So what are the things over here? This is a ribbon. On the top, you can see this is a ribbon from where we perform certain steps for Power Query. Here we have all the list of queries, or you can say tables, which we import in Power BI. So this is the one table as of now. As and when we will proceed further, we will see we will be importing many more tables inside this Power BI. This is your data view option, where you can see what is given inside your data, what is the data, etc. And this is a Power Query setting from where you can change your name. And these are certain applied steps. So what happens is, once you import your data in Power BI, in case once you import the data in Power BI, so you have certain steps which are applied by default. So this is a by default setting in Power BI that it picks up a source, navigation, and promote headers along with changing the data type. You can also remove these steps in case you want to do it manually. But as a best practice, we should always activate it so that it reduces our human effort, because Power BI has built-in capabilities which most of the time does it properly. And in case if it's not done, we can just do our steps manually also. Now, what is the first step, which is a source? That is basically the way we connected it to our Microsoft Excel. So if you can see over here, if I click it, so it says the path of the file is eWebinar sample superstore. Next is the navigation window, which opened up from where we selected this orders tab. Correct. Third is the promoted headers. So what happens is you can see as of now the data which is in my Power in Microsoft Excel, you can see the first row is coming as an headers. So Power BI automatically consider it as a headers and promote it to the topmost things. And last step which it performs is a change data type. Now over here you can see if I click on promoted headers, it will show ABC 1, 2, 3 everywhere. But now once I move to the next step, it assigns a proper data type to each of the column. Correct. So over here you can see this is a normal the whole number value, or you can say integer value. Then we have other data types like decimal number, whole number, percentage, dates, time, whether it's a text, like over here we have a text, and all those things. Now, how does the Power BI assign a data type to a particular column? So here we get an option that the profiling is being done on based of top 1000 rows. So it scans your top 1000 rows, and based on that, it will assign you a data type. In case you want to change it, you can do it on the basis of entire data set. And from the bottom, you can see how many columns, like you want to see how big is your data or how much is your data. You can go on the bottom left side and you can see you have 21 columns and more than 10,000, more than 1,000 rows, right? In case if it's less than 1,000, you can directly see what's the exact number of rows. But in case if it's more than 1,000, it will just show 999 plus row. So how should I get an idea whether my complete data is imported or not? So you can go to the transform window and you can click on count rows, and you can see the count rows gives you the exact number of row count that you have received a data which is having a data close to 9994 rows. And now you can re-verify by going into your source of data. You can go down and you can see how many rows of data we have. 9,994. So you come back to your Power Query window, and now you can just cross this step so that you can see the complete view of the data. So this is one of the good practice where we see in the beginning itself how big is our data, so that when we transform our data, we do not lose out on any of the data. In case we are losing out, we should know to what extent we have lost on the data, so that we can make that changes appropriately. Correct. Now, over here, as I said, in the orders tab, this is a query and this is the same name. In case you want to rename the query, you can just mention it over here, like orders underscore sample superstore. and your name of the query will be changed over here directly. Now, most of the time what happens is we have to first identify what's my column quality. So what do you mean by column quality? So in any of the column, do we have any null values? Do we have any errors? Or do we have any kind of anything apart from the normal value? So you can go to the view option and you can just select this. For me, it's by default checked as a column quality, but in case if it's not done, you can click on this column quality, and from here you can see whether there is any error in your data or whether null values are there inside your data. So I can scroll it through left and right, and I can see whether there are any error values or null values inside my data. Or else you have another option over here. You can see this, a small green line is coming up over here. This small green line is coming up over here, and you can just look at this green line. If it's completely green, that means your data has 100% valid results. It does not have any errors. There are no empty rows inside your data set. Right after checking your data, we can perform certain steps, like if you can see on the home window, you have few steps like in case you want to bring in some additional data source. Now the data which has been given to us over here is for various certain regions. You can see over here, there is a column called region, and this is a sales data for 4 different regions, which are Central, East, South, and West. Now, after a certain interval of time, the client shares you a new data set, which includes a new region, correct? So this is a file. He sends that file to you, correct? And he says that in this, I have included the file which you are receiving includes a data for a new region, which is classified as new region. And we have to basically combine both the tables and then do an analysis. So what we need to do in this case is we will bring inside this query. And how we can bring in this query? By clicking on new source and select the type of data, and we can select that file and click it open. Now you can select the table which we want to bring inside the Power Query. And now you can see over here, order sample superstore, and this is the orders, and we can mention it as new region, so that we get an idea that this exists the existing source of data, whereas this is the new source of this data. Now, once we look into this query, which is our order new region, over here there is a green bar which is showing as empty values in a lot of the columns. Now, once we pulled in the first data source, we saw that most of our work was already clean. We were getting the proper headers, we were getting the exact data type, but now we are seeing that the data is not cleaned. Now, why it's not cleaned is Power BI to the some extent did some cleaning steps automatically, like it ignored first 2 rows and took this data as the first row headers. So you can see the data is coming up over here. Then we had these 2 null values, and then we have the first row, which is considered as a complete row headers. So in this case, we need to do it manually, because Power BI has done its job in a proper way, because it started from the first row, it found it as a blank, second row as a blank, found the data in third row, and it said that my data starts from here, and this should be my first row. And it promoted the data type also. If you will see for the data, it's able to pick it up ABC, but there were some null values and all, due to which it was not able to pick it up. Correct? So now we need to perform certain steps, like we have to remove first two rows of our data set. Correct? So now what we need to do is we have to delete the first two rows and promote this first rows as header. So you can go to an option and say remove top rows. So when there is an option called remove rows, where you get multiple options like remove top rows, you can give a number like you want to remove top two rows. I click OK and it removes the first two rows. Apart from that, you also get various different options like removing the bottommost rows or removing any alternate rows, that you start from 3 and you want to delete next two rows, then keep two rows, next delete another rows. You can also remove the duplicate values in case you think your data has a duplicate values, you can delete it. Then you can remove the blank rows in case you have any null values. Over here, I'm just removing this step. Now you know that these two are null rows, so you can just say remove blank rows, and it will remove your top two blank rows by default. Correct? And now I want to promote my first row, this row as headers, for which we have this as an option, that use first rows as headers. Right? So now over here, you can see your data type has been automatically aligned. Once you promote your headers, now you can see this is coming as a date, this is coming as date, this is coming as a text, this is coming as a rows. Correct? Now, like you can remove the rows, sometimes, as we said, there are 21 columns over here. You might not need any particular column. You can also remove the columns by selecting this option, which is remove columns. Right? As of now, that column was selected, which was removed, and you can just click it over here and you will get that column back. So suppose I want to delete this ship date, you can just click on remove columns, right? And then remove columns, or you want to keep only ship date and remove other columns, you can do that also. Now, once you have imported this data, we know that the client has told us that over here, we have a data for only new region. And if you go over here and click on load more, you will see there is a value which is coming up as a new region 2. So that means basically by default or by some error, somebody has put down a value as new region 2, which should not be the case. In that case, what we need to do is we need to replace this value, which is new region to the new region 2 to the new region. How I can do that is, one way is you can click it over that particular field and select replace value, right? You also get, there are multiple ways to do one thing. You can also go to the transform option and it says replace value, right? So you can replace the errors. In this data set, we don't have any errors. So I'm just clicking on replace values and you can say new region 2. And from here, you want to convert it into new region and click it OK. And now you can see over here, if I click load mode, you will not find any new region 2. So always understand that once you are in a Power Query window, once you import the data in Power Query, you will not be able to edit your data. Suppose if I have to edit this particular value, I will not be able to edit it. I will have to go to my source data and I can only edit it. But yeah, I can replace the value. Right. So once we have what's the difference between a replace value and edit is, suppose if the value, if I have to specifically change this value 761060, then in that case I will be only able to replace all the values which are coming as 761060. I cannot change any individual value. Right. Now over here you can see my data is ready. I have 21 columns. Over here also I have 21 columns. Now I can create a union, or basically you can say appending of the data. Appending of the data. Now appending, it is also known as union of data. So now what has happened is we have half my data in query 1, which is order sample superstore, and half of my data is in orders new region tab. Now I want to consolidate these two data and create one table. For that, we have an option over here, which is known as Append Queries. Now in Append Queries, what we do is in both the append queries, what we can do is we can create a union of the data. Now, how does the union of data happens? So now what it will do is, we know from here that in both the queries, we have exact number of columns, 21 columns and 21 columns. But we don't know whether these are the same 21 columns or not. So how does the thing happens over here is, how does the appending works? So it will pick all the columns from the first query, right? And pick up all the columns from another query, right? And then it will try to match it up. So suppose row ID, so it will do an exact match. When I say exact match, it should be a case sensitive, right? If your R is capital, it should be R as a capital in other query also. In case if R is not capital, it will consider it as a separate column. So it will look out for all the columns in case even the sequencing, that in case the row, this row ID is coming in end, whatever is the sequence, if it matches up, the row headers matches up, it will place the data below that particular data, else it will create a separate column. Now suppose in one table I have row ID, in another query I have row number. Correct. So ideally these two are the same things, but since the name or nomenclature is different, Power BI will consider it as two different columns. And what it will do is, it will, when it will append the data, it will end. In the end, will create a new column by the name row number. And wherever there is a value of row ID over here, it will show a null value over here. And wherever the value is here, it will show you a null value over here. Correct. So now let me just go back and show you how we can just create the power. So how to create a union. Now you can go on this append queries. Append queries is basically the union, and you get two options. So as of now, you can see I have selected this query, which is order sample superstore, right? And now here, if I select, I get two options, append queries and append queries as new. So if I select the append queries, the data will be consolidated in this particular query. In case I want to create altogether a new table, then I can use it as append queries as new. So as of now, I'm selecting as append queries as new. Right now, it will ask me how many tables you want to create a union. So there are two tables or three or more tables. As of now, I have two tables. So I'm selecting two tables, which is my first table, order sample superstore. You can change it in case you want. And this is my second case. Click OK. And now you will see a append one. Now the first thing which you have to do is you have to check over here how many columns are coming out. So in case the number of columns increase up, correct? In case there is a number of columns increase up, that means in one of your queries, either your row or your column headers are not exactly the same, or either there are more columns in one of the queries. But over here, if you think that there are exact number of same columns, 21, 21, but I am getting more columns over here, in that case, you get an idea that something is changed over here. Like if I say row number over here, right? Now, if I go over here, you can see I'm getting 22 columns. 22 columns, that means there is something either the number of, since we have exact number of columns, so there might be a difference in the column headers. So how I can do is, I can just try to go over here in the end. I can see there is a column by the row number. It's having a null values over here. So in that case, I can go and check my queries and I can just change it over here and correct it. And now once I correct it over here, I can see I have the exact number of columns over here. Right, so it assigns everything very in a clean way. Like you can see the data types are correctly coming up. So it does a common column profiling based on 1,000 rows. Also, you can do it on complete data set also. Now, as a best practice, what you can do is you can count the number of rows. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 2, 0 is the count which is coming up. So we had how many rows of data we had in the first query? 994. Similarly, you can check for order 2, click on and say count rows. It says 2326, 2326, and now you can combine and you can see what's the value coming up, 12320. You can just, and the count which was coming up over here was 12320. Correct? So this is a way by which you can do a appending of the data. Now you know that you have these three queries, 1, 2, and third, append 1. But ultimately, when you are working in Power BI in Power View option where you will be creating a visual, you will be using this data which is append 1. Right? In that case, you don't need to bring this sample superstore or new region inside the Power BI. So what you can do is you can right click over here and select enable load as deselected. Right over here also you can just deselect this. Now Once you can see these are deselected. If you think that your data is now transformed, it's ready for the analysis, you can click it over here, close and apply. So you get three options. One is a close and apply, where it will just close this Power Query option and it will take you to the Power BI, or you can click on apply. That means it will just apply the changes in Power BI, and in case you close it down, nothing will happen. So I just click on apply and look at my Power BI window. And now you can see our data by Append 1 comes up over here, and we don't have these two queries over here. 1 and 2, we don't have this queries in Power BI. Though it will remain in Power Query window, but it will not reflect on your Power BI. All right, so you can click on Append 1 and you can name it as data and you can stop it. Right. Apart from that, there are a lot of options over here which are available in Power Query window, right? Like in case you want to sort your data, you can sort this data from here, or you can sort ascending or descending. You can split the column in case, like over here, you think that I want to split this column in 3 different columns. You can split it by any delimiter or a number of characters, or by lowercase or uppercase. It totally depends upon you how you want to basically split it. Now, in case you want to again change a data type of any particular column, you can directly click it over here, or you can also go on date and this data type, and you can select your data type from here. Right now, group by. So group by is a very important function over here while doing a transformation. Right, a very useful thing. So what happens in group by is when you are performing a data transformation, as I said, there might be a chances of losing out the data. Right, one way is you can just count the number of rows. Another thing is you can group it by. For example, I have a sales over here. Right over here, if I go, I have a sales column over here. So I can also try to say group by my sales, name it as a new column, total sales, right? And I can sum it on the basis of, you can say, segment, and click OK. Okay, just a second. So you can say group by my sales, create the new column as sales total. The operation you want to perform is sum on the basis of category. Sorry, I'm doing it in a wrong way. So you have to just group by your category. Right, name it as sales, perform this sum on the basis of sales. And now you can see what is the sales coming up for each of the category. You can take a snippet of it and you can keep it with yourself. And in the end, you can just say, once you're done with the transformation of the data, you can just match this sales, whether you are getting the exact sales for each of this category. In case if it's coming as exact for each of the category, in that case, you have a cleaned data, else you will not have a, there's a loss in a data while performing some transformation steps. And then you need to go back and revisit all of your steps, right? Now the most important thing which is a part of Power Query is merge queries. Now, what is basically a merge query? Right? So usually what happens is, as we saw over here, you have received multiple queries. The data which you have received is in the format of multiple queries. So sometimes you get a data from multiple tables. You get your data from multiple tables. Now the problem is you have a data from table 1, you have 5 or more columns, right? And in table 2, we have another set of data in columns, right? Now we want to club both the tables so that I get a consolidated data. I get a consolidated data which includes all the columns in table 1 and table 2. So this is a concept of joins, right? So we will be seeing it in an elaborative way. How does the concept of joins work and how do we perform those joins in Power BI? So let me open up a new file, right? So usually what happens while doing an analysis is the client or the end users share you a data which is coming from two different tables, table A or table B. Now there is a certain set of data which is present in table A. Like over here, we can see employee name, gender, and age is given to you in table A. And in another table, you have been given their titles and their salary. Now, while I'm doing an analysis, I want to perform an output where I can see what is my gender-wise salary or what are my gender-wise titles. So how can I do those things in that way? Since the data is in two different tables, I have to pull gender from one table and salaries from the another table. So how should I do in that case? So in that case, the concept of joins comes into the picture, and which plays a very important role. And the understandability of joins is very important because there are different types of join and the type of data which you get changes. Now over here I have table A and I have table B. So I want to pull down the salaries in front of all this gender, right? How I can do it? So you can see in table A and table B, you have a common column which is also known as a primary key as employee name. So in both these tables, you have a common name called common column, which is employee name, right? So now you know that if I have to ask what is the salary of Amit, I can go into table B, look out for that value and just add it. Similarly, I can do it for Puneet and do it. Since the data over here is very less, we can do it manually also. But once the data is in a very huge format, like millions of rows or thousands of rows, how will you do it, right? So there's a process by the name which we call as a merge queries, which we use in Power Query. And before we proceed to Power Query, let's understand how these joins work. So there are basically 4 types of joins, which is known as left, right, inner, outer join. And we will see how these four joins work. Okay, just give me a second. Right. Now see, over here you have a table A which is on your left side, and there is a table B which is on your right side. Now how do we do it? So suppose if my focus table is table A, that I want the data for the fields which are present in my table A, I will use a left join. In case my focus table is table B, where I want only the data for the components or the IDs which are present in table B, you can use a right join. Or third way is, in case you want the data for the fields which are common in table A and table B, you can create an inner join. And in case you want a complete set of data that is present in both table A and table B, in that case, you can create an outer join. Right? So let me just show you how does an output works. How does it work over here? Let me just delete it. Right. So over here, if in case my focus table is left table, which is table A, what it will do is it will pick up the data and it will place it over here. And now it will start looking out for those values in table B. Is Amit present over here? No. So it will give you a null value. Similarly, over here, it will give you a null. Puneet is present. Puneet present over here? No. So it will give you a null value. Is Garima present over here? Yes, Garima is present. It will pick it up and give you the null project lead and salary. Rachna, is Rachna present over here? No. So it will give you null, null. If Rahul is present over here, yes, it will pick it up and give you the data. So you can see the output which we get over here comprises of all the entries which are present in table A, and it will give you the null values for all the entries which are not present in table B. And we can see the output over here is exactly equal to the number of rows in table A, which is 6. Oh, sorry, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct. Now, if I have to create a right join, that means my focus table is table B. So I can create a right join. How I can do it? It will copy this data over here, and it will start looking out for the values. Garima is present over here. It picks up, place it. Rahul is present over here. You get it over here. Rajat is not present. So it will give you null, 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 null. So over here, what do you observe? That the number of records is exactly equal to the table B, which is equal to 4. And we can see over here that the data which you are seeing does not have. If you see over here, we have not a clean data. When I say clean data, why I'm saying? Because we have a lot of nulls over here. Now, what does an inner join does? So in inner join, it will pick up the values which are common in both the tables, table A as well as table B. So it looks out for Amit. Is Amit present in table B? No. It will leave out Puneet? No. Garima? Yes. It will pick it up, go over here, and give you the output. Right? Rachna is not there. Rahul is there. It will pick it up and drop it over here. Now it will go to table B and recheck those entries. Garima we have already taken. Rahul we have already taken. Rajat is not there. Tushar is not there. Now over here you can see how many output we have? 2. Whereas in the left we have 5, in right we have 4. Now the outer join. So what happens in outer join is it will just pick up all the data set. It will first go to left table and see wherever I can see data can be matched. So Amit is not present, give you null. Give you null. Puneet is not present, null. Null. Garima is present there. So it will pick it up, this project lead, and give you Rachna is not there. It will give you null. Rahul is there. It will give you the data. Now it will go to the table B. Garima already taken. Rahul already taken. Next, Rajat is there, but Rajat is not present over there. Rajat and Tushar is not present there. So it will give you a null value over here. Null, 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 and null. Give you over here. Analyst training 896. Now over here, you can see the number of records have changed to 7. So always remember, while you are creating a join or while you are creating any type of join, you have to understand your data. It's not that you can just create any type of join anytime. That, okay, I get a data and I just create a left join. You have to understand the data. You have to understand what is your requirement. And based on your requirement, you have to decide what type of join you will create, whether it's a left, right, inner, or outer. Because while creating a join, there will be a loss of data. There is a high probability that you might lose out on a data in case you don't create a proper join. Right. So this is a concept of join, and you can see in left join, you get the output totally equivalent to table A. In right join, you get the number of output equal to table B, whereas in inner join, you get less number of records, or you can have an equal number of records in either in table A or table B. And in outer, you will have more number of records. Does it always work? Anyone who would like to answer? Do you think in left join, we will have the equal number of records equal to table A always? No. Okay, yes. All right. So the answer is no. Now, why no? Right? This was one of the instances where the number of records which we get in left join was equal to table A. Now, let me just walk you through another type of scenarios where we create a join, but over here, what you will have are duplicate records. Let me just show you. Now, before we proceed, do you think in any of the two joins, we will get the same data? Okay, no. Okay, A lot of people are saying no, no worries. So there can be a scenario where when you create a two different type of join, you will get a same data, and we will see it over here. Now, sometimes what happen is you will have to create a join on duplicate values. For example, in table A, you have been given a data that what is the order number, in what region the order has been placed, and what's the status, whether it's paid or unpaid. Now in table B, they have given you the order breakdown for that order numbers, right? Like we do when we order it on Flipkart or Amazon, anywhere we do, what happens? You place an order, you get an order number. In that order number, you can place multiple things, like you order a mobile phone, you order a glass cover, you order a back cover. You can also order something else like chair or curtain, anything. But they all remain a part of the same orders, correct? So over here, this is the same scenario. Now what has happened over here is there is a table A where you have placed order numbers, and in the table B you have an order breakdown. Now how will a join work? So in these two tables, what is my common field? Right, what is my common field? Order number, right? So now once I create a left join, there is a 101 over here, and you can see over here 101 is mapped over here, correct? And 101 is mapped over here. Similarly, if I say 102, it's mapped over here, and 103 is mapped once, twice, and thrice. So how many times these records are coming up? So now this record is coming up 2 times, this is coming 1 time, and this is coming 3 times. Now how will a join work in this scenario? So it will go, I'm creating a left join, it will pick it up 101, place it 101 chair. Now it will go inside the data, it finds 101 again, right? It will pick up this data and drop it over here. Right, now 101 is not present over here, so it will go to 102, come up over here, place it, and 102 will come up over here. Now it will go again 103, come up over here, and we'll look 103 is here, 103 is here, 103 is here. It will pick up all those things and will place it over here. So now this is a left join. Will it pick it up 104? Will it pick up 104? No, yes, it will pick it up because we are creating a left join. And in left join, it will always make sure to pick up all the values which are present in left side of the table. And what it will give you as an output? Null, null. Right, now see, we were discussing how many records are there in table A? 4, but now we have got output as how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's not a mandatory thing that your number of records will be always equivalent to the number of records present in your data set. Correct? Now, similarly, if I have to create a right join, how will it work? So it will pick it up 101 over here. It will go over here, place my values, and 101 is present over here. That's why it will give you an output as this. Now 102, it will pick up all those values over here. Right, now 102 is there, not unpaid, it will give you not unpaid. Now 103 is there, so you can see not paid, and it will give you an output over here, not paid. Now over here, you can see it has exactly the same number of records, which is equivalent to 6. Over here, you can see it's equivalent to 6. Right? Now inner join. Inner join. In inner join, what it will do, it will pick up the common fields. Is 101 present? Yes. It will pick it up and drop it over here and give you the output based on these two. Right? Now 102 is there. It will pick it up. And 103 also it will pick it up because it's present in table B. And it will give you the output like this. Now you have 104. It will not pick up 104 because it's not present in table B. And now it will do a vice versa. 101 already taken, 102 already taken, 103 already taken. Right? Now what will happen in a case of outer join? It will pick it up all the things. It will say 101 not unpaid. And it will pick up this chair and desk over here. Right? And drop it over here. Now it will go to 102 and 103. And pick up this data 102, 103 over here. And it will give you an output. Since it is an outer join, now it will consider 104 and give you the output for item and sales as null. Null and null. Right? Now, the thing which we were discussing earlier, right, whether we can have the same output in two types of join, your answer lies over here. That yes, in these two cases, we are getting the same output, whereas in this case, we are getting the output as same. So they based on the data or on the classification of the data, it totally depends on you. It totally depends upon the data, how will be the output of your data set. Correct? Now, do you think there is any other type of scenario in joins? Let me show you one thing over here. Right now you have this table A and table B. You have these two tables. Correct? And now you have to tell me on what basis you will be creating the joins. Common column, store, order, order. Okay. It will be created based on store and order as column names are same. Order, store, column name. Okay. So a lot of people are having different kind of opinion, right? So once you get a data, the concept of joins, which we are doing over here, looks very simple because we have a very limited set of data and the number of dimensions are also very less. But in reality, when you get an actual data, you will see the data is very huge. That means you have like more than 10 columns or hundreds of columns, and you have millions of rows. In that case, to identify the common column becomes very tough. Right. So there are instances when you can create your drawings on multiple columns. Now, what does this mean? Now over here, when I ask a lot of people, what they do is they just look at a common field and say, okay, order, this is my common field. Let me just create a join. So what will happen in this case is, if you create a column on the basis of order, so this 101 will be mapped to this 101 will be mapped to this, and this 101 will be mapped to this. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And now it will go down. It will pick up 102. It will be mapping to this. Now it goes down. It again finds 101. It will map to this. It will map to this. And it will map to this. Correct? This will be an output. But in case you are mapping it with store, what will happen? This will map to this north. This north will map to this north. This will be mapped to this north. Now again you have a north. This will map to this north. This north will map to this. And over here, again it will map to this north. Whereas this south will be mapped to this south. And in both the cases, your output will be wrong. Why? Over here, I have created understanding. So what is happening is, there was a store or there was a company which started its operations in two areas. One was in the northern part and another was in the southern part. And they started taking on the orders. Now always remember, when we are consolidating those orders, we have to consider it as a unique column. So what happened is, due to some technical error, the tech team was not able to rectify, and both the stores started ordering it with order number 101, 102, 103, 104. Ideally, it should have been, if 101 is taken by the north, it should be 102 by the south. Then if south is placing 103, then again if north is placing, it should be 104. But they were not able to do it. So in that case, what we need to do is we need to basically combine two columns for the purpose of join. Right? And how we can do it is north 101. Now I'm creating a left join. So I take north 101 Rahul. I go over here and see north 101 Rahul. So see north 101. This is north 101, so it will pick it up. And below is also north 101. So it picks up that value, place it down, and gives you an output like this. Now again it goes north 102, Pune, goes up over here, right, and pick this up and drop it over here. Now again it's south 101, it goes over here, it picks up Amit and picks up over here this, right, and gives you an output. Now nothing is left in table A, so it gives you an output like this. Now what will be the scenario in case of table B? Oh, sorry, right join. This will be a right join. So it goes over here, it picks up all those things. Now north 101. North 101 is Rahul. It places it down over here. North 102 is Puneet. It places it over here. And south 101 is there. Place it over here. Now in a join, it will look out for the common values over here. North 101 is present, so it will pick it up, the value, and we get off these two and drop it over here. Now what not 102 is here. Right. Place it over here. Now South 101. We place it over here. Camera and 15,000. Now all those things are already considered. North 101, North 101, North 102, South 101. Now in outer case also, I'm not doing it. It will have a same output. Why same output? Because we don't have any change in the result. Right? Now you can see over here, in all the 4 type of joints, you get the same output. Correct? So we saw in the first type of joint that the output was altogether different in all the 4 types of joint. In second, 2 types of joint, we were getting the same output. And now in the last scenario, we saw that the output is almost the same in all the 4 types of joints. All right. So ideally, in a real-time scenario, you will see these are the generally used cases for the joints which you will be coming across your in day-to-day operations. Correct? So any, I guess this is all about the concept of joints, and let us see how we can do this joints in Power Query. I'm closing down this sheet. Now over here, you can see in another table, we have a table called people. Now, what is this? Basically, this people is just giving me the name of the manager in each of the individual region. So you can see that there is a person, Anna in West, Chuck in East, Kelly in Central, Cassandra in South. Right now, while I was doing an analysis right over here, the end user asked me to create a chart where I can show the region-wise sales. So I dropped the region over here, right? And I'm showing the sales over here. So you can see the region-wise sales individually over here. But I also wanted to see which manager belongs to which region, right? I also wanted the name of the region manager so that I can know that which manager is performing good or which manager is not performing good. So how can I do that? So I can bring in this data sheet, click on Excel workbook, click on this sample superstore, and take this people over here and click on load. Correct? Now, can you see anything in common by which we can bring in the name of the manager in front of the regions? So you see, this is a table A, this is a table B. So there is another way also to do it by the concept of relationship, but sometimes relationship, we don't work on relationship, we use this merge queries, right? So now we're here, we have this region, and in orders tab, we have this common field as regions. So can we create a join on the basis of region? Yes. So you go inside the Power Query window. This is the name of the people, but before we proceed, we need to basically clean this data. And what is that? We have to use this first rows as headers. So once you click on the first rows as headers, you will see there is a change in data type. So in case there is a different data sources, it's not an issue because you can just directly click it on this new source and you can select any of the source. It's not a mandatory thing that while creating a join, the data should come up from the same source. It could come up from the different source also, like PDF, dog, or anything. You just need to bring in the query like we brought in over here. Now we want to create a join between this data and this people so that we can get a name of the person in this data tab. So similarly, like you have append queries, you have a merge query option over here. And now you can select merge query, which will basically make the changes in this particular tab, or you can create a merge queries as new, which will altogether create a new query. So I'm doing it in the same thing. You click on merge query, it will pick up your data set, and now you can see a region. So you can select a region. Now, in case you think that you want to map more, like more than one column, so you can press Control and you can select product ID. And now you can see the first column should be your region and second should be your product ID. Now, once you map it over here, so when you select a region, it will pick it up this, and if you select person, it will come as 2. So always make sure that the numbering is same. But over here, we don't have this 1 or 2. We have only one column in common, which is a region. So I selected this region in the top table, selected the region in the bottommost table. And now from here, you can select the type of join. Whether you want to create a join on the basis of left, right, full outer, or inner, right? And it will give you exact number of records. So we have 12,320 records, and out of that, 994 records are being mapped. Now, why close to 2,300 records are not matching up? Because we don't have a people name for a new region over here. Right now, in case I make a right outer join, which is this column. So what will happen is it will give you all the force map, all these 4 map, and it will give you an output close to almost 994 rows. Whereas in inner join, again it will show 994. So in left and outer, left and inner, you will get a same number of records. Whereas if you click an outer join, full outer, you will get the same records. Right now, the only difference is if you create a left join, you will be able to see all the data, even including the nulls. Like over here, if I show you left outer join, you click OK. Now it has created a join. It will ask you which column you want to bring in. I want to bring in the person because region is already present over here. And you can click it over here, and you can see you will be able to see a null value. Now this null is for new region. But in case I create a right join, how can I go? And you can go to the merge query and you say right join. And you select the person name, click OK. Right, and now if you will see, you are not getting a null. It has eradicated that null because new region is not present in your right table. My focus table is right table, so it will only pick up the data from the values which are present in the right table. correct? So I just close it down and make a left join. Right over here, you have certain null values, as I said. You can, since you don't have any manager name over here, you can go back to the user and say, do we have any manager name? If they say yes, we have a manager name, you can ask them and replace those values, right? Like over here, right? Or you can also write as not applicable instead of nulls. And your data is ready for the purpose of analysis. Now again, I go to the people and I can deselect this enable load, because that this is something which we don't require. We are creating a single table which is of important use. Correct? Now over here, we have seen a lot of options, like how you can remove the rows or columns, how you can split the columns, or you can sort the data, how you can assign a data type, how you can use your first rows as headers or replace the values and use an append or merge queries. Now there are other options also which are present over here. You can click on this transform icon and explore those options. A lot of the columns would be the same, right? But some of them are also different. Like what is a transpose? So in case you want to convert your rows to the column, you can use this transpose option. In case you want to reverse the rows, that means the bottom should come on the top, top should come to the bottom. You can use this reverse row and you will see reverse has happened up. But the best thing about Power BI is you can just close your records then and there itself without going anywhere or doing any steps. Now count rows is to check what's the total number of rows of data we have in Power BI. Next is the rename. So either you can just double click on this column and rename it, or you can just select this and say rename. A window will open up. Right. Next is fill. So in case you have any null values, you suppose there over here you have a null value. So you can fill up or fill down that null value. Like if you do a fill up, it will pick the bottom value and enter the details. Whereas in case you do fill down, it will pick up the last value and bring it down. The next important thing which we have to keep in mind is the pivoting and unpivoting of the data. Right? Let me just open up one different source. Right? So I have a data in this format where I have a company name and I have the name of 4 cities: Jaipur, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata. Right? Pivot and unpivot is a very important concept in Power BI, because a lot of time people spend a lot of time thinking why my data is not coming up, correct? And they just end up delivering a wrong result. So I guess everyone is well versed with the form of what is a pivot form of data and what is a unpivot form of data. Everyone would have used this pivot form if they worked on Excel. Now, suppose you have this data which is in a elaborated form. What a lot of time we do is we create the pivot, correct? We say pivot table and create a new table where we can take the age on the rows, gender on the columns, and we can take an unemployed on the values, and again take a period on the columns. Right, now if I ask you, guys, which is the better form of data, this or this, what would be your answer? Sheet 1 or sheet 4? What would be your answer? If you have to give a gist, or if you have to explain any data to anyone of your colleagues, like if I give you, so this will be a better form because it's a pivot form of data. From here, I can just see, okay, the data which is given to us is for close to 10 years of data, starting from 2005 to 2015, which is for different genders divided in different age groups. But if I give you a data like this, you will spend a lot of time to see what is given in the data. Right from here, you can say, okay, there is certain men, women, there is data which is monthly wise, there are some age groups and everything. Right? You will take a lot of time to understand this data. So as a humans, or as a human beings, we are able to understand the pivot form of data, whereas the machines understand better in form of unpivot kind of form. So unpivot is basically more number of rows and less number of columns, whereas pivot is more number of columns and less number of rows. Now suppose I open up I bring in this new data set, which is a text or a CSV file. Right, so you can see over here, I have certain empty columns. So I can say, select one, press shift and till the last column and say remove columns. There are blank rows, and I can say remove blank rows. My data is cleaned up. Now over here you can see Jaipur, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata. This is a pivot form of the data. How should, as an individual, sometimes a lot of time people ask, how do we know that whether this is a pivot form of data or unpivot form of the data? So the best way to do is, if you think the same dimension, right? What is a dimension? It's a categorical value. If same dimension, you can say categorical value is splitted in number of columns, then it is a pivot form of data, right? So just observe at this data set, and what do we get is Jaipur, Delhi, Mumbai, and Kolkata. What are these? These are part of the same dimension called as state, or you can say head office. Once you get a data, you will be able to understand, or store location. Anything, you will get an idea what are these. But from here, you can get an idea why that this all are part of same dimension. Let me just apply it. Another way to help you out when you need to do a pivot of the data. Now, if I ask you guys that we have given you this data, and now I want to see the data state-wise. I want to see the data state-wise. So what you will need to do, you will have to pull Delhi 1, put it, then you will have to put Jaipur again, Kolkata again, Mumbai again. So this is an indication that this is a pivot form of data and we need to do a unpivoting of this data. And how you can do this unpivoting of the data is you select the dimensions which are select all the columns which are part of one dimension, correct? And you go to transform and you click on unpivot columns. And once you do an unpivot, you can see you are getting all the attributes in one column and all the values in one column. Right now, if I ask you, you just apply it. Wait for a minute. Once the query is applied, now if I ask you, I have to see the state-wise profitability. I can just drop a state at one go and I can see all the states at one place. So this is basically the unpivoting of the data. And this is also one of the key things which you will be finding that you have to do this a lot of time in your data in order to get your desired list. Right? And apart from that, we have certain other options which are available over here, like a format. Now, suppose if I have to format any column like this, we have to format. So I can select a format and you can do it in uppercase, lowercase, or you can do it in a proper capitalize each word, or you can also do a trim and clean. So what is a trim and clean? Basically, trim removes the excessive space in the start or on the end of the column, right? So why do we remove that space? To reduce the size of the sheet. So what happens is sometimes while entering a data, you will see, suppose I've written Jaipur and I enter 2-3 spaces over here, right? Now, if I use this trim option and I copy paste this value, so you will see there's a difference in the length. That means if I say length, it's 11 digit, and if I say length, this is 6 digit. So it has removed all the excessive space. So you can see the cursor is at the end of R. Over here, the cursor is after a lot of spaces. All right. And clean, just remove the unprintable characters from your data type. So what happens is once you import your data from any digital platform like websites or servers, so sometimes what happens is there are certain unprintable characters which are imbibed in your data set. Those are just taking the space in your data set, but once you print it, it will not come in your data, but though it will be present over here. So in that case, you can just use a clean option to clean that thing. Or in case you want to add a prefix or suffix, you can also do it. Like you can say prefix, create colon space. You can see in front of it everywhere a state is coming up. Right? So this is by which you can do a format. Like you do a split column, you can also merge 2 columns. You can select 2 columns, and then you get an option of merging this. in case you want to get any separator or you want to any delimiter, you can use the delimiter. But in case you don't want any delimiter, you can just click on merge and it will be created. You can also extract few things like what's the length and all those things from this extract option. That suppose you want to extract a length. Okay, this will give you what is the length of each column, right? Or you want to extract certain words like first character or last character or first 5 characters, you can say. I say first 5 characters. So it has given you the first 5 characters over here. First 5 characters over here, right? Now you can do other things also. Now let me go back to the data. Now you can also perform some statistical kind of things over here on your numerical data. Now over here you have seen we have sales, profit, quantity, and discount. And in case you want to make some calculations, right? Or you want to imbibe like sales. So in sales, you want to see what is the minimum of all those sales. So you can select minimum. It will give you the minimum sales is this. You can close it down and see and go back over here, right? Similarly, you can add certain more values like what's the maximum, what is the median, and all those things you can look from the statistics option, whereas you have a standard from where you can perform a basic mathematical operation. Like you want to multiply this sales by 100, or you want to divide it by 100, or you want to add certain value to every column. So you can just select from here, select this standard, and you say add. So if you say add 100, it will add 100 to each of the values in column. Whereas it will, if you say multiply, it will multiply it by 100 to every column, right? In case you want to check a percentage of total and all those things, you can do it from here. And there are certain scientific things. What are the scientific things that you want to raise to the power or take a square root, cube root? You can take it from here. Like you want an absolute value. So it's over here, it will not matter, but yeah, in case you want to make a square root, so you will see it is taking as a square root. So if I close it down, it comes back to me. Or you want to take a square root, exponential, log values, or you want to perform some factorial things, you can do it from here. As of now, we don't have a data for trigonometric, but yeah, if you have some theta values, you want some trigonometric things, you can do it from here. And you can also do a rounding of the numbers from here, like round up. So you can just rounding off to the above value. Over here, information just gives you whether this is even or odd. So it says is even, false, true, and all those things. Right? Now, there are certain time intelligence features over here. Now you can see over here in the date. Now what you can do from a date, right? A date includes a lot of information. Date includes a lot of information like your day, quarter, before quarter it's month, then year, right? It also includes time, and this date can be used to check the trends, or you can use it for checking the seasonality of the data, right? So in case you want to extract certain things like this, you can select this order date and go to date. And you can just say you want to extract a year, month, or a quarter, or a week. So we forgot to add, you can, it also includes a week number. It also includes a week, day, right? So all those things can be pulled in from here using a date. And in case you want any kind of time intelligence analytics, you can select this date and you can use those features over here to pull down those information. Right now, you can also align your Power BI to R or Python. That's basically part of separate session, right? So over here we have covered up home and transform tab. There's another add column tab. What is the difference is in add column, what happens is whatever changes you are making in this particular column, it will build up an additional column. It will not do any changes in the existing column. Like if I click it over